I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Monty Python. However, an oft-quoted line from that comedic troupe goes as follows. And now for something completely different. And quite frankly, that's what I hope this talk will be. So something absolutely, positively, and completely different. Like narrates. I stand before you today hoping to lay bare the inner workings of a mind that attempts to remain robust despite an unrelenting neurological assault. And as a result of chemical imbalances in my brain, due to Tourette Syndrome, frenzied vociferous neurons frequently assault my consciousness. And these stormy petrels probe me. They urge me. They plead with me. They scream at me until I finally acquiesce. I move, I shriek, I jump, or I curse. So whether it be the suppression of a guttural grunt or a violent head jerk, my Tourette Syndrome forces me to do battle every single second of the date. And quite frankly, to be perfectly honest, I might lose that fight once or twice up here, so you've been warned. What comes out of my mouth are words that are strange, and I don't wish to say them. They're not really my own, so what you're about to hear may very well be the strangest talk that you ever hear, TED or otherwise. So, although what I deal with is undoubtedly real, the following recollection is very, seems almost serendipitous and ambiguous as a result of it. Pardon me. The following recollection is almost absurd, seems almost false because of its absurdity and its serendipity. What follows is a typical day in the life. The tribal marimba ringtone sounds from the shattered iPhone 4 that sits below my lofted bed, and I arouse from a sleep full of incoherent dreams that often seem more realistic than the life that I actually lead. I awake screaming, "Fuck you, you dumb hick, wake up!" to my farm, born and bred roommate, August Kunkel, and waking up with my usual calm and coaxing demeanor. As I climb down the loft, my legs I almost fall because my legs don't exactly understand that in order to climb, you need both coordination and control, something that I really don't have. So when I do fall down and when I do sit up on the ground, I take my iPhone, my fourth and for approximately as many months, and I turn the alarm off and I immediately fling it to the ground. So thankfully, the life-proof case that covers it proves to be Tourette-proof this time. So I still have a means of telling time and keeping in touch with all those individuals who are crazy or kind enough to keep in touch with you throughout the days. I disrobe and I quickly get the shower supplies out from under the sink cabinet that I broke a week earlier because of an unmerited karate kick. I then head out into no man's land, in the hallway, and inevitably, I display my own private masculinity to anyone who seems to be lucky enough to be walking in the hallway at that time. Now rushing effectively nude towards the bathroom at this time, I greet my good friend AJ in the bathroom with, "Hey, good morning. I hate you, you fucking shit." And ashamed of itself, my Tourette's offers him an apology and an absurd proposition. "I'm so sorry. I'll kiss you in the face if you'd like." I like things in threes for whatever reason, I don't understand. And he just sleepily looks up and says, "Hey, how's it going, Tom?" in response to my verbal lambast because he's used to it. Jumping into the shower, I throw bottles of shampoo, facial cleanser, and body wash towards the cold tiles and tired bodies that occupy this communal shower area. And after I do that, and I regain my composure after breaking a bottle of Neutrogena, I endure the cold blast of the shower, and I rush back to my room. I hustle to put on clothing so that I can protect myself from the Arctic tundra that is South Bend, Indiana. And after really usefully taking every single book that I have and hitting myself in the head with it for that day's classes, I put them into my backpack, which I then proceed to put on and take off. And put on and take off. And then put on, you guessed it, and take off. Until I finally head out along my merry way, innocently and joyfully, and yet involuntarily cursing and screaming and grunting along my merry way. So when I arrive at my first class, I greet my professor, and with a well-intentioned, "Fuck you, you shitty professor, I'm so much smarter than you." And then I take my seat. He loves me. After sitting down and when we begin to discuss our upcoming paper, I lend my professor my full support when I rousingly state, "I'm not writing your goddamn paper, professor." When things begin to quiet down, I enter my cerebral Tourette-free zone. Our professor instructs us to turn to page 69 in Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. And thinking this occasion is way too good to be true, my Tourette seizes upon the opportunity and says, 69. And that's like sex. That's a great position. So as a result of that, a lot of people are smirking, the professor chuckles, and I too laugh because it's simply just another day in the life. Now listening to that, if you took my word for it, you'd probably think that I was a very bad person. If I were to run into you on the street, I'd probably greet you with a hearty "fuck you," and then proceed to insult you in some way, shape, or form. If you stopped and we conversed for a bit, I'd probably state that I'm in fact fucking tits for whatever reason, for it's somehow romantically involved with your mother, and imply that I hated you in some way, shape, or form. However, in my case, you can't take my word for it. I neither want to have sex with you nor treat you badly in any way. I simply have Tourette Syndrome. It's defined by the neurological community and the medical community as a neurological disorder characterized by multiple motor and vocal tics that last for more than 1 year. And Tourette Syndrome encompasses everything from echolalia, which is the repetition of certain words and phrases, to coprolalia, which is involuntarily cursing. And I'm actually one of the few that has coprolalia because the vast majority of individuals don't have it, even though the media hones in on them. So what started in the 3rd grade as facial grimaces and other such things has now become a cacophony of motor and vocal tics that continually plague my existence. But this is not a banal sob story. And this is not a pity-seeking attempt. This is a celebration of sorts. I mean, this is not a mockery of the severe incurable disease I have. Rather, I see it as a celebration of the gift that I have, the gift that we have, the gift of a life, this beautiful gift that we share no matter how quirky my mannerisms or how eccentric my demeanor. As a result of this, the gift of life. Sorry about this. The gift of life that we all share. That's the trust, welcome. But the gift of life that we all share. Although I don't really enjoy calling elderly women kind old bitches and slapping them on the rear ends, and I don't think that I take any particular pleasure in pretending to vomit on small children and their families and thus terrify them. And I hope to share with you in this talk that in the most absurd circumstances, in the most abysmally uncomfortable circumstances, a laugh can be had and a smile flashed. Because honestly, now I'm going to tell you what this talk's about. It's not even about Tourette Syndrome. It's not even about me. It's about actively addressing all that plagues us. And it's about creating knowledge together. And the knowledge I'd like to impart on you guys today is that simply because my syndrome, my trial, my tribulation manifests itself in such a manner that is grotesque and obscene, it in no way diminishes the respective challenges that you, sir, or you, madame, face in your lives. Because we're all in this together as human beings. As a result of this, and we come together as human beings. I'm sorry about this. um, in no way does that, no. Sorry, my Tourette Syndrome is losing my train of thought. However, in no way changes these trains of thoughts. And simply because of these things, we're all in the same boat. And once we realize that we can triumph together, we actively seek that together we're in the same boat and we collectively see this vulnerability that we all have. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. At the point where we can all state that yes, I do have PTSD and I am depressed. And you know what? Maybe my marriage is in shambles and my father is in fact tormented by dementia. At that point, we can actively recognize the vulnerability and that we cannot escape as human beings in suffering. At that point together, that is not a bad thing because it leaves room for hope, that wonderful and basic human emotion from which every single action and every single activity transforms into something wonderful of who we are and what we can become. And you see, for a long time now, Tourette has done the talking for me. And now for something completely different. Peel back that facade of Tourette for just 1 second. And now it gives me great pleasure to say that I, Thomas White, am the one that's doing the talking. And I'd like to say this to you. Embrace the life that you lead. Let your talk be heard. And remember that each word is a celebration and has hope. Thank you.